Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah. Yeah. Look, Wrestling 101, classes in session. Pay attention to the teachings, that's from Andrew and Derrick. I mean, these guys making a killing with no competition. Dynamic duo better than the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys. Everybody make some noise, mess with them, you get destroyed. They cannot be beat, take a seat. Watch them do they thing on the MIC. Face defeat, they cannot be seen like JC. Oh my goodness, it's a killing spree.
Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Wrestling IQ 101. You guys know me. My name is Derrick. You can follow Wrestling IQ 101 on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Wrestling IQ 101. Make sure you subscribe, listen, check us out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, anywhere you get all your streaming needs. Today is a very special day. I got the stepdads in the building, Papa Bear, Wade Kruger, Rad Dad, Radley Belmont. This is being filmed in front of a live studio audience. The stepdads, how are you guys doing today?
I'm good. I mean, I guess for me, it's more of like just like a Funko Pop audience, but we'll go with it.
All good. What about you, Radley?
I'm feeling really good. I just got my hair washed. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, man, you're looking real fresh, man. You got the sweater vest on right there. Nice clean hair. I like it, man. I like it.
Oh yeah, I had to special order this bad boy, but it actually matches my gear, so perfect.
Definitely. It's been a while since I talked to you guys. I know a lot of good things have been going on for you. For everybody, the world got shut down. Quarantine happened, locked everybody down. For you two, though, how was it like just going through that? And, what did you guys do to keep busy during that time?
It was not fun. Like I'll put it this way, for me, is like once wrestling kind of stopped, and it came back for a little bit halfway through and then went away again.
Mm-hmm.
It's for that first 6 months of quarantine, like I can honestly say I was like just depressed. Like I didn't cook. I didn't want to do anything. I was eating out all the time. I put on more weight, which is probably hard to believe for anyone who's met me. I was already big. Put on more weight. And then the second half and more recently, I dedicated to taking it off. Like so like mine was just like two stages distinct. It's like halfway through in like September, I was like, I hate how I look. It was making me more depressed. So I just started changing that's pretty much the story of my quarantine, I feel like.
Oh man, Radley, what about you? How did things go for you during that time period?
Similar for me, but everyone who knows me knows that I get restless within like 2 days of sitting in my house. So I knew, even though I was continuing to work during quarantine as an essential worker, I still had nothing to do on the weekends, and that really drove me crazy very quickly. And I tried all these different other ideas, video games, working out, different types of cooking came later. At one point I had to get surgery because I was in the heat too long outside. That's a whole story. Yeah, but it was a tiny surgery. It wasn't anything crazy, but like we just went through all this stuff. And at the end of the day, I just missed wrestling, man. I just missed wrestling. Like Wade said, we went 6 months without a single wrestling show. We were even advertised for a couple of shows that got canceled. We had to bail from one show because of the surgery I had. And so when we finally got to wrestle, we went balls to the wall. We went all out, and things started moving again into the fall. I believe we had 6 shows in maybe 2 months. And then everything went back to just 6 months of nothing, man. But that's when Papa Bear started losing his weight. That's when I was really starting to get into my workouts. I bought some home gym equipment. And we've been just trying to preparing for the inevitable. At the beginning, it was like, we don't know when this is even going to end. And not seeing that light at the end of the tunnel just sucks. And I'm sure everybody feels that way. But even though back in like December, we really didn't know when the light at the end of the tunnel was coming, we knew it probably would be coming. So that's when we started switching things up, and we are finally starting to get shows again. And that's a really good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. You know, watching you two as well. Especially I see. I don't know what it is. Radley, he always pops up on my time feed. I always see the you cooking, the weight loss, and all of that. You know, you guys both are looking great. I've seen the progress on both of you guys. What was it kind of that motivated you guys to you know, start this whole weight loss journey? And I need some motivation here, so I need to know what was it for you guys?
For me, it was like, so I was even big like in high school. I've always been, even in high school, I was like pushing 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while I'd kind of just accepted. I was like, well, I just wear a 3X shirt now. That's just what I wear. And then I was buying like stuff that should have fit me, and it was like snug. And I was like, no, we're not going up again. This is not okay. This is where I draw the line. And yesterday I went through all my wardrobe of like old stuff that I had kept when I had cleaned out my closet and stuff. I found a picture of me wearing a shirt from like 2008 that I put on yesterday, and it fit. So
Wow.
like that's how far I've come. But like I needed to get there. Like I'm closing in on 300. I think I'm like 15 pounds away. It'll be the first time I'm under 300 since like early in high school. So like that was I hit a weight where I was like, I can't. It's not good for me long term. It helped that my girlfriend also wanted to lose weight. So I just started, and I'm not even working out yet because I don't feel comfortable at the gym yet because of the masks still being involved. And it's tough when you're a big guy and you got to wear a mask. It's already tough for me to begin with.
Yeah.
So it's just from diet change. And it's not even diet change. It's more portion control. I found an app. I track my calories. It tells me how much I can have in a day. And as a gamer, it's like, I look at it as a challenge. It's like, that's a number. I can't go over it. I'm not going to go over it. I lose if I go over it. And it's just about staying consistent for me.
Definitely. Radley, what was it that motivated you and got you to start doing this as well?
For me, it's a little bit of a story, but just to chime in with what Wade was saying, I also don't go to the gym right now. I don't have any plans to go to the gym just because I bought this home equipment, and I really enjoy just working on at home. You know, you just turn on some IWTV or you turn on Dark or whatever in the background, and you're just working out on your own. I think it's great. So I'm not even going to think about the gym right now. Staying safe. That's the most important thing right now.
Yeah.
As far as why I wanted to lose weight, Wade knows this story. In November of 2019, we got to be preliminary wrestlers, enhancement wrestlers for Chikara Pro. And we were really looking forward to it. There was a lot of opportunity with the show. We ended up being a part of a show called Action Zone, I believe it was called. But they didn't know where it was going to be on, what streaming service it was going to be on, if you know what I'm saying. So we were really excited about where that could end up with us. Since we were preliminary guys, I decided to dress like a bum on purpose. I wore trunks that I haven't worn in years. I left the laces out on my boots. Like I really tried to look like a bum. And so we had this, we had the match, we had the show. And afterwards I saw the pictures of myself. And even though I was trying to look like a bum, I just felt like I succeeded a little too much. I looked a little too accurate to what I thought I was portraying myself as. And, over the years, I always use the excuse like, hey, I'm a stepdad. Of course I'm going to have the dad bod. Like, why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And that, as years go on, a couple more pounds here and there, it just became very obvious in those pictures that I didn't look like somebody who should be on a big streaming service or on TV right now. Even if I wanted some form of dad bod, it didn't look good for me. I'm not very tall. My weight didn't look like a Bam Bam Bigelow style, like it wasn't there.
Yeah.
So it was very gradual over the beginning of 2020. It was just a lot of me thinking what to do and figuring things out. But when quarantine hit, I was already starting to look at dieting. I was hoping to go to a gym at that time, and it just took a long time. They say, losing weight is like 80% nutrition 20% working out. And that's a very vague generalization, but like it really is all about what you're eating. You know, when you're eating it, when you're working out compared to when you're eating. Not that I'm a big, you know, buff gym rat now. That's not the case. You know, I'm just saying there are fans out there, fans of us, that have told us like, I'm trying to lose weight now because you and Wade, we can clearly see it in the pictures we post on our social media every day. You can see over the months how different we look. I fit into my gear better than I did the day we got it.
I don't. Like, my gear's too big now. We got brand new gear before quarantine, and it's already too big on me.
Oh, that's a good problem though.
It's a good problem. It's just like a multi-$100 problem, sadly.
Oh, I get you. You can get it tailored or something though, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna probably look into. But yeah, it's like Brad said, it's just like, for me, it was just like, my girlfriend likes to go like cold turkey with stuff. She'll be like, oh, I'm losing weight, I gotta drop everything. And like, if I do that, I know I'll fall back. So for me, it's like, I've just been, as long as I eat in a calorie deficit, that's all I care about. As long as my calories are less than I need for the day, and it's been consistent. Yesterday, I went to Popeyes and had a bucket of chicken, but the rest of the day I ate smart, and I still went down from yesterday to today. So like, it's everyone thinks you have to be like, oh, I can only eat salads now. It's like, I eat takeout like 2 or 3 times a week still. I just know how to fit it in my day.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel you on that, man. Yeah, I did. I'm kind of like your girlfriend there. I went cold turkey, and I just decided, I woke up one day and was like, hey, I'm gonna go vegan. And I did it for 3 months, and then summertime came, and I was like, hey man, I miss those steaks and those hot dogs and hamburgers. So I was like, I went back to it, but I'm maintaining now. And you know, it's funny, you know, you say your fans, you know, they see you guys losing weight, and you know, it motivates them. And I'm not gonna lie, seeing you guys do it too, especially during quarantine. Like during quarantine, I feel everybody gained weight. I know I probably gained like 20 pounds, and then I gradually started working it down. I saw you guys, I'm like, yo, these guys are really looking good, man. They're working out, and it really motivated me, and it made me, you know, even though I didn't tell you guys, but I was like, yo, you know what? Like, I got to get myself back in shape and stop playing around, man, for sure.
Yeah, it's just the results. It's tough at first, but it's like, you know, it's going to be worth it down the line. Like, don't let future you be upset about past you for not doing it. You're going to feel so much better if you just, and like, if I can do it, it's never been easier. Because before, you'd have to write down your calories and keep like a diary of like your stuff. There's apps that do it for free. And you just punch in like, oh, I'm 6 foot tall, and this is how much I weigh. And every day it'll update, and it'll take more calories off. And if you work out, it'll calculate it from your phone and say you gained an extra 200 calories today if you want them. Like, it's so easy.
Look at that. See, you guys you're being good stepdads already, giving that great information and, you know, motivating these stepkids out here to do the things they should do. You know, you talked about your gear as well. You know, that's one thing I love about you guys is the Diesel and Scott Hall inspired gear. What was it? Right, yeah, see, there it goes right there. Yeah. Perfect. What was the thought that went into it, and what kind of made you guys decide on that gear for each other?
So that's an idea we kind of came up with that idea in conjunction with Hot Dog Starks during a car ride at one point. We were literally driving up to a show, and we were talking about it, and he's like, oh, I could design that. And he kind of designed it up, and we both grew up on WCW. Rad more than me. I watched, but I always enjoyed The Outsiders. I'm a big Kevin Nash guy. Like, I even do the pose when we come out. It's like, I've always loved it. When we won belts, we did the Diesel and Shawn pose when we won the belts. Like, it's always been an inspiration. So even though I was like, I'm not going to wear leather pants. I'm not tall enough to pull off leather pants or skinny enough. So I was like, let's go with the khaki shorts, and we'll get the inspiration. And the Argyle drip for Rads, I love it. I think it's awesome. And then we brought it to No Gimmick here in New York. And she saw what we were going for and found ways to even amp it up from there, of like adding certain trim and using certain materials to make it pop more. And I'm so happy with how they came out.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the one thing I definitely feel like I don't know how about other people with their gear. I feel like they just say make this and that's about it. But for us, we got so much feedback, and we didn't even ask for it. People were just like, "Oh, it'd be so funny if you added like a little pipe on the stepdad's logo, or if you used this color for the Argyle, like that kind of stuff." And it just made it better and better. And it was such a collaboration with Starks, with No Gimmick Gear. Like it was great to have that mindset. It also told us that we were in the right direction, that they understood immediately, like, oh, they're the outsiders. Well, the stepdad is kind of the outsider of the family, so it makes perfect sense, along with me just being a huge WCW fan.
Yeah,
But
some people were like, oh, well, why'd you go with the like the brown? And like there's so much in the gear that's like just for us that like I don't even know if people have noticed it. Like the reason it's brown is because I'm a big baseball guy, and I was the brown inspiration is from the old, I guess they're new again, Padres jerseys that were the brown and Padres dad. So it fit. It just made sense. I was like, there's so many like little things that we added to it.
Nice. See, I like that. I like that. You know, you can tell you guys put thought into something. That just blew my mind. The Padres thing, Padre dad.
No
That's
baseball
crazy.
player, no baseball player has had a better dad bod than Tony Gwynn. Let's be honest.
I can agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. Damn, that's crazy. That I like the way you guys put thought into that. You know, something else that I like that you guys you do, and you guys do it very well, and I think they're great and they're hilarious, are your promos that you guys do. And you know, when you guys are putting together these videos, what is kind of like the thought process when you guys are putting together a promo together? And the most recent one against the Golden Era, when you're giving the silent treatment, that was like just hilarious. I found that to be funny. But what's that thought process like, just getting these promos together?
Rad, you want to start, or you want me to go?
well, first of all, I will say that they call us one take stepdads for a reason, because I don't remember the last time we did a second take for a promo. It's been probably years. You get one take and it's perfect. I don't know how we do it, but a lot of it lately has been us just going back and forth, going, I don't know what to do. I was like, what do you want to do? I don't know what to do. What do you want to do? I don't know. And then, but the cool thing about Wade and I is we have this weird amalgam of ideas. Like our chemistry is just so weird that when he comes over here, or I go upstairs and help him out, because we're in the same house, everyone knows that. But it just like we stand there for like a minute and then we have like 3 ideas. It's weird how it works that way, but I think just he'll come up with a joke. Like for instance, I said, we were literally just sitting right here, and I was like, "What if we do some sort of like silent treatment?" And he was like, "Oh, I'll do a silent. I'll give him this face," and then he's like showing me like his crazy bear face, and we just went on like that. And I was like, "Oh, I'll go over there and do this," and it just becomes like 2 kids being like, I'll do this. Oh, I'll do this. Oh, well, I'm gonna do this instead. And then it turns into something that's way too long that we have to shorten to 3 minutes. And then that becomes the promo. And it's pretty much like that every time. Early on, we used to have much longer promos. And we would have them edited and stuff. And we're trying really hard to bring them down to the bare bones now, so people will watch the whole thing if it's like a 2-minute video or whatever, as opposed to like a 6-minute spectacular that we'll do for like a special occasion.
My whole thing when it comes to promos is like, Rad he grounds the promos in like wrestling, and I kind of take them into comedy, because I'm a big stand-up comedy guy. I grew up on like comedy, so it's like I feel like when you are like like when you do comedy promos, it's hard to be short, because you have to have the setup and the punchline, and you have to have it like you have to have those moments, or else it doesn't hit as well as it, like if you rush it. But our promos, it's a snowball effect. It starts with like one joke. Like literally the Golden Era was like, I don't know what to say, because, and then it was like, well, what if we give them the silent treatment? And it just snowballs from there. It's like one joke, one idea, and then that leads to the next one, and that leads to the next, and it just kind of goes from there.
Yeah, we're pretty much already acting like stepdads 99% of the time every day. So we're just taping what we say is for the promo, you know?
Yeah, no, definitely. You guys do a really good job at it for sure. You know, one thing, you know, that seems to kind of be a lost art in wrestling sometimes, is tag team wrestling. And, you know, you two are perfect. You guys are great at the chemistry between you two, and just like we said, the thought you put into everything you guys do together. Do you guys think that the fans and that wrestling companies in general, that they appreciate tag team wrestling, and that they invest in it, or do you think it's kind of like something that's kind of like being lost nowadays?
I actually would say
Either one you can start.
I was gonna say I feel like it's actually coming back more than it did.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like AEW has helped with that greatly because they've done a great job of building up groups and stables and tag teams and alliances, and I think that's helped because the only thing on TV for the longest time that was popular was WWE,
Mm-hmm.
and WWE has always looked at tag teams as how do we put two guys together and which one is going to be the star and which one isn't. And I feel like they've looked at it that way for a very long time. And I think AEW has helped that. I think there are fans that maybe still don't see it. I mean, it's a gimmick match, but it's like still grounded in wrestling. It's the most grounded in wrestling gimmick match. And if it's done right, you have four guys in there who can tell the story that can only be done by two guys in a singles match. And I think that makes it possible to do so many more things that, like, even the fans who maybe aren't as into it or don't see it as prestigious as a singles match, you can lead them, like, you can lead them to the water and get them to drink it if you do it right.
Yeah, totally agree. Totally. What about you, Riley? What are your thoughts on tag team wrestling?
I mean, I'm very happy to be a tag team wrestler. I hope I'm always a tag team wrestler. The first thing I always think of is Arn Anderson, super respected, amazing talent, amazing mind behind the scenes. Everyone respects Arn Anderson. And Arn Anderson once said, the best tag team match in the world will beat the best singles match in the world 10 out of 10 times in the main event. It would be the hottest match you could possibly put on would be a tag team match. And I absolutely believe that because you have twice as many people in there. If they're really good, you have such an amazing story to tell. And you can tell the individual pieces of that story as well in the middle of that tag team match. The format itself can be very basic. It can be very complicated. Any gimmick match in a singles situation can pretty much be used in a tag team situation. And you can't really do that with most other match types. I do feel like tag team wrestling is coming back. I don't think we're there yet. And I hope it continues to evolve. If AEW had a tag team title match as the main event of one of their pay-per-views or something, then maybe we finally kind of made it to that point. But for so long, like Wade said, WWE has been, and right now probably still is, the measuring stick. TNA was around in the 2000s, but even they used makeshift tag teams a lot of the time. So AEW is really trying to turn that around. I feel like them doing it is making the independents try to turn things around, since a lot of those teams came from the independents.
Yeah.
As far as like local indie promotions around the Northeast that we wrestle in, it's very hit or miss. Some promotions don't have tag teams at all, and there's nothing wrong with that. But it hasn't just flown across the board that tag team wrestling is as important or more important than your top singles guy. Some people think of the tag team champions as like the first title a new guy wins in the company, where I like to think of it as the tag team champions of your company should be able to put on an amazing main event, if not as good or better than your heavyweight champion. That's just my opinion. I see it as equal. And I'm not just talking about the titles, I'm talking about that spot, you know.
Yeah.
And you look at back with the 80s, the Rock and Roll Express and the Midnight Express, main evented so many shows, sold out arenas. Road Warriors main evented AWA shows constantly in the 80s. So that precedent used to be there. And I feel like with the right push from the right person in the right promotion, hopefully AEW, that could really happen again. Absolutely. And we're the bedtime express, so we're gonna be ready for anybody. Take them on that main event.
Yeah, I love how you guys have a good wit of flipping everything to mean something special to you guys. It's funny. You know, speaking of tag team wrestling as well, you two personally, how do you feel as a tag team from day one when you first started to where you guys are now? How do you guys think you've progressed as a tag team from then to now?
I think the most obvious thing that I think Rad would agree with is when we started, we used comedy as a crutch to hide that we weren't very good in the ring. It was comedy first, wrestling second. And I still don't think it's more wrestling than comedy now. I'd say it's just we found a better balance of, instead of using comedy to hide our lack of ability, we use comedy to elevate what we can do. We use the comedy to like add to the match rather than as the match. We found better timing with it, we've refined it more. It's like when a comedian comes up with a new set, you don't film the special right away. You got to like work on it in house shows and club shows, and to get the material right, to get those laughs where you need them, to get those moments where you need them. And I think we've done a good job with that. And I think we've done a good job of continuing to add to it as time goes on. Like, I think there's a lot of guys, and not a lot of guys, actually, I think it's less of a problem than it used to be, but there is that like guys who do the same stuff every match. And I feel like we have stuff that we don't do for months and then we'll bring it back. And I like having that range. When you have multiple things that could win you a match, multiple big moment moves, multiple hot tags, multiple whatever, it just adds, because you know people aren't seeing the same stuff all the time.
Definitely. Bradley, what about you?
Absolutely what Wade said. Like, when we started, we had the basics down, obviously, but we needed more time with pacing, with our storytelling, with our crowd work. And so comedy, we both know comedy. I mean, it just came natural to us. So we use that absolutely as a crutch. And we still have matches once in a while that are heavy on comedy, but it's not every match anymore. We use the comedy. Now we use that comedy as more of personalizing our moveset. You know, doing different spanks and things like that. I do the sidewinder suplex I call the rockabye baby, you know, like there's so much we do that's specific to us now that I don't see anybody else do. We do a double inside forearm called the Sonic Boom. I don't know if any other team does that in indie wrestling right now. Right now, the last I want to say the last like 14 months, we've had 4 different finishers. So we're keeping things fresh all the time, and we're reusing the old finishers and going back to them. So we're all about keeping that variety now that we have the move set, and using comedy more to personalize us, to make it a stepdad's match rather than just a tag team match that any 4 random guys can put together. And it might be really exciting, but we want it to be our match. You can only see a stepdad's match with the stepdads. And I really feel like we're accomplishing that now in a way that before it might have been not quite there yet.
Yeah, I think we also hit a point, I think, where we had like our greatest hits stage where we kind of were doing the same stuff, but like recycling stuff. And I feel like we've hit a point where we have all that stuff in the bag now and we could pull it out if we need it, but we've continued to expand and build again. It's almost like when a band puts out a couple albums and then they tour, and it's like they play all that stuff a whole bunch and then they make the new album, and then you mix in the new stuff with the old stuff, and you just keep doing that over time. I feel like we're on like our 2nd or 3rd album now, and we're kind of playing the old stuff but working in the new stuff with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Back in 2017, I started doing the master of the headlock thing, where I'd always try to grab guys for headlocks and they couldn't escape my headlock. And just this year I started doing that again, but it's so much more advanced, and I'm headlocking both guys at the same time and stuff. So it does feel like almost sequels that the fans maybe didn't see before. But to us, it's like expanding the original ideas. And brings a
Improving
lot
on
of
it.
variety.
Definitely, definitely. We talked about tag teams, and you guys talked about involving the comedy and who you guys are as a tag team. In comedy, whether it's a movie or a TV show, for you guys, off the top of my head, I could think of Chris Tucker and Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, Jackie Chan. Who do you guys think are the best tag teams of comedy?
Ooh.
Boy.
Oh, that's tough. I mean, there's the classics, obviously. Like, I grew up like I would watch Abbott and Costello stuff with my dad, like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and like that. I love that stuff. More recently, I mean, I do love Seth Rogen and James Franco as a duo.
You took my idea. You took my pick.
Yeah, I'd say that's the first one that comes to mind for me. I have to think. Rad, if you have any other ones.
Yeah, I mean, you can use the Freebirds rule for this, but I still to this day love Three Stooges skits.
Yeah.
They have an amazing pro wrestling skit from like 1939 or something, still funny today. Other than that, I mean, I think of like the team from Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, At World's End.
Oh yeah, Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Simon Pegg and Nick Frost is like a perfect comparison for us, I feel like.
Absolutely.
And then just it's not exactly a team, but one of my favorite groups of comedians would be the Broken Lizard guys, Super Troopers, Beer Fest.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's like a great, where all those guys add to each other when they work together.
Definitely can see that. So I ask you, what is your favorite show that was filmed in front of a live studio audience? And the second part to this question, which show that was filmed that wasn't filmed in front of a live studio audience do you wish was filmed in front of a live studio audience?
See, this is a weird question because I actually prefer when it's not filmed in front of a live studio.
Yeah? Oh man.
I think you can do more with it. Like you could do more camera stuff and it's easier to like do punchlines and film stuff. I'd say, oh man, Cheers probably I feel like would be right up there. Cheers or Frasier. Those were both great shows that were filmed in front of a live studio audience. Also a show that only existed for a little bit. And at one point, I don't know if you'll even remember, there was a show that used to be called Undateable. Ron Funches was in it. Chris D'Elia was in it, but it was filmed for the first 2 seasons. And this is maybe like 5-6 years ago. For the first few seasons, it was pre-recorded. And then they did an entire season that was live in front of an audience. And I thought that was such a cool thing that you don't see anymore. Like within the past like couple of years, like it was done live, like not even filmed in front of a live studio audience, literally live. They would do a West Coast and an East Coast feed.
Oh wow.
I thought that was super cool. Oh, and Saturday Night Live, obviously, would be another.
Wait, what show did the West Coast, East Coast feed? What was that?
It's called Undateable.
Okay.
It was Chris D'Elia was the star of it. Ron Funches was also in it. That's how I found out about Ron Funches before he became like a big radio or not big, a big wrestling guy on like podcasts and stuff.
Okay. All right. Because I remember the Drew Carey show doing that a couple of times where they had an East Coast, West Coast feed.
30 Rock as well, actually.
For me, at 100%, I grew up watching it. I still think it's hilarious to this day. Married with Children. I love that show. Al Bundy. I took when I had the 2 championship belts. I did the Al Bundy hand in the pants thing. Absolutely love Married with Children. I still think it's funny. My girl, not so much, so I can't watch it with her. But I think it's still funny today. If you remember the mindset of the '90s, there respect women. But other than that, it's funny. As far as shows that don't have an audience, man, I really like Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's a classic nowadays. Kind of random. I really like Dexter. I don't know if you ever seen Dexter.
Yeah,
That's a really good show, and they're about to like do an extra season, so I'm actually excited about checking that out.
As far as shows that aren't in front, and I don't know if these shows would benefit exactly from being in front of a live audience, but as far as like my favorite shows that were not filmed in front of a live audience, Community, 100% loved Community.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm wearing a shirt for What We Do in the Shadows, hilarious show.
Yep.
I don't know if it would work. I don't, because they have so much set pieces and they have the house and everything, but like incredible show.
Definitely. You know, when it comes to shows, I'm kind of weird when it comes to shows. Like, I don't like watching things when they like first come out. I don't like being a part of the crowd watching things. Like everyone's going crazy, giving their opinions. So I'll tell you guys, I literally just started Game of Thrones last month. I just finished it like a couple days ago. So that's how late I am when it comes to episodes. I like to watch stuff by myself and not with everybody else.
I get that. Like, I think it's nice to also just be able to watch, like, to not have to wait for cliffhangers on stuff. Yeah. Like, I purposely waited to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier until it was all out, because it felt like a movie already. So, like, it felt weird. I was forgetting plot points between each week. Although WandaVision, I just, as soon as it came out, I was watching every week. So it depends on the show.
No, I totally understand.
Definitely depends on the show, but I feel like that era of the weekly TV show that I really enjoy is kind of fading away now, because we have the whole seasons or maybe little packs of 4 episodes at a time here and there. Things like WandaVision, I loved watching weekly because then I could talk to my friends about it and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, I might forget some things, but hopefully I wouldn't if I was talking to my friends, you know, throughout the week about it.
Same with like The Mandalorian. Mandalorian is like one of the few shows where people are like, we got to talk about this as it comes out, like right away, which is cool. It's cool to still have that water cooler show that everyone's talking about at the same time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it. I think you're right that it's going away, that where people like these weekly episodic shows. We're so used to just being able to watch everything all in one, just binge watch 10 hours and see the whole season in a day or something like that. It's just crazy. And I think you know, Disney, I think they're trying to capitalize on that. And I think they also just want to make sure you stay a member for a longer period of time and don't cancel your subscription, but it's still cool though.
Weirdly, like the only thing that still follows like the episodic format is like reality shows. They're like the only thing that still do it, like Amazing Race, Survivor, RuPaul's Drag Race. But even that's starting to go, like you have like The Circle on Netflix where they'll drop like 4 episodes at a time. So it's, I don't know. They know more than me. They must have people who do all the research on this stuff. And it's like, this is what works for us. This is why we do it.
Yeah, definitely. As you can see, you know, you have a lot of collector pieces behind you there, Wade. You know, you guys collect. Can you tell us some of the things you guys collect, and if you have a favorite piece out of something that you've collected? Wade, Riley's looking like, let me see.
I'm gonna see if I could get a good shot of like. So I have this bookcase behind me is all different. So obviously you can see there's all like jerseys and Devil stuff on the wall, and then like on the jerseys is all Mickey Mouse, Funko Pops. Above my head is all bobbleheads. The bookcase behind me, each like cubby has like a different theme. Like there's a Devil's one up in the top corner. There's one that has like all Spider-Man villains behind me. There's one there's the baseballs that are all signed. There's one that's all Marvel in the top middle there. My favorite one is probably, oh God. So all the way in the top far corner is all like Mega Man stuff, which I'm a big Mega Man fan. So that's all on there. And if you could see all those binders, every one of those binders is filled fully with signed 8x10s and signed like baseball cards and stuff.
Wow, that's crazy.
That's my biggest collection by far is autographs. I probably have somewhere around 6,000 now.
Wow.
Signed 8x10, signed pucks, signed baseballs, signed cards. That's the big thing. Funko Pops, obviously, there's a whole bunch. And video, even like you can see, there's like video games behind me with with Jinjo from Banjo-Kazooie sitting on top of it.
Oh,
And,
man.
like, over here is all Disney stuff. I'm a big Disney fan.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah,
That's dope.
this room is insane. In this corner, it's all. Do you see this giant pile of Mickey Mouses that are all over here?
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's. I collect a lot. I have no kids, so I have disposable income.
I hear you on that.
Not to
Bradley,
give
what
up
about
the,
you? What are you collecting?
Yeah.
Let's see. Wade's definitely got a bigger collection than me, but I do. People who don't know, I love comic books. I love comic books as much as I love wrestling. I don't talk about it too much, but I could talk your ear off about comic books. So that being said, I have shelves upon shelves of hardcover comics. I got tons over here. I'll just show you a couple of them, but old magazines, old comic book magazines from the 2000s and things. Like I just love comic books. I got tons of signed stuff, statues, things like that. Other than that, I also have some original art that I got from different famous artists. This would be a Batman sketch by Jim Lee, who is the vice president of DC Comics now. Stuff like that. Yeah, so I got a lot of stuff. I have more in the other room, but big
Also,
fan of original art. Yeah.
Since we mentioned comics and they're within reach of where I'm sitting, I literally have, like, from our last trip to Comic-Con, like, signed copy of Moon Knight #1.
Oh, man.
Signed copy from Bob McLeod, and signed copy of New Mutants 2.
Wow.
Signed copy of Wolverine, signed by 4 of, like, the guys who worked on it, including Larry Hama, which is, like, really cool. Signed comic of Iceman #1 when they redid it. Even, like, signed copy of DuckTales from the new DuckTales.
Oh, man.
Signed Suicide Squad. And then best for last, signed Todd McFarlane Spider-Man Hobgoblin. So, like,
Crazy.
yeah, my autographs bleed into the other things that I enjoy. Like,
Oh, man, that's pretty sick though. You know, you guys are actually doing me a favor here, because when my wife gets mad at when I keep buying stuff, I'm gonna just bring her to this episode and show her this. So I say, look at these guys, they got way more than me. How you mad at me? Come on.
let it be known that, like, I don't think I've bought Funko Pops in, like, over a year, unless I already have a place picked out for them, because there's so many in this room. There's, like, another 100 in another room. I can't, there's no more. Like, I have to either put up shelves in this room to put them up, or I have to stop. So I've stopped.
Oh, man. Crazy. All right, so since we we're talking about, we brought up comics, this is just something I just randomly thought of. There's like shows that I wish, like, Netflix does, like these shows with the superheroes for Marvel, or Disney does it. And sometimes I always wish, I'm like, damn, I wish they would make a show for this superhero. For me personally, like, I know they're supposedly working on it, supposedly 2022 or something. Blade is a big one that I wish that they would make, that's supposedly coming soon. Spawn is another one that I would love to see in, like, an episodic series. Is there any comic or superhero that you guys wish that they would make a episodic series for nowadays?
So they're already working on Moon Knight, so I don't have to say that, because that's the one that I feel like they've done so many Batman shows, and, like, Moon Knight just seems like a perfect choice.
Yeah.
Punisher, like, I'd like to see more of Punisher. I enjoyed the show. I think John Bernthal was great in it. I loved, like, some of them. For me, it's like there's just ones I wish were still on, like Punisher, and I loved Gotham when it was on. It was like a perfect mix of camp and serious, and it had such good portrayals of the villains that, like, it makes me sad that those versions don't exist anymore in a show. I think the thing I'd most like to see would be, like, a good Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Or even, like, something with the OG, like a Human Torch, Submariner type of thing. Like,
Gotcha.
those early, like, take those early Marvel comics that weren't a particular hero, but were a few stories, and turn that into like a show.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Riley? Is there one that you wish they had?
Yeah, I would have said Invincible because I collect the Invincible hardcovers, but they already made Invincible and it's actually really good. So
Yeah.
I would recommend anybody check it out. It's 8 episodes for the first season, and it follows the comic pretty closely, so you can really enjoy the real story that Robert Kirkman had for it. Other than that, I would say it'd be really cool if they took the original early 1980s format for the Ninja Turtles, because back then it was black and white. It was meant to be edgy. They were teenagers, but they were like drinking on the side and
Yeah,
stuff. And
Shredder died in the first issue.
Yeah, they'd swear here and there, and they kill Shredder in the first issue of the official comic book. They killed Shredder in the first issue. How he became the main villain, I don't know later in the cartoons, but like it was such a raw, edgy version of the Ninja Turtles that we've seen bits and pieces of. There's a movie called Turtles Forever, which is a really good movie, which has the 2000s Turtles meeting the 80s Turtles, so you get like the comparison between the two. But they have a very small scene where you meet the Turtles from the original comic, and seeing that, I was like, there should be a whole show. There should be like an Adult Swim series or a Netflix series or something with just this edgy, maybe like PG-13, but like a harder edge Ninja Turtles that I would absolutely dig, especially if it's in black and white, just like the original comics. You could do so much with that.
One show that I wish, so this was an idea that already existed, and it existed for like a season, maybe a half a season, and I'm so upset that they didn't do more with it because there's so much potential for it. There was a show that existed for like a year called Powerless. And the idea was they were creating gadgets for people who lived in like these cities that were being attacked by supervillains. Like it was in the DC universe, and they worked like with Bruce Wayne, like Wayne Enterprises, to make like umbrellas that were strong enough to block a brick if a building was coming down. And like it was such a fun idea of like regular people living in a city where these things happen, and how do you plan and prep for it. But they like never took it far enough. It just became like a regular sitcom. And if they had like more heroes and like arcs and stuff, it could have been really cool. I love the concept of it, of like, how do you deal with living in the city, and how, if you're a corporation, like who works there, like making stuff to make people's lives better as they're getting attacked. I thought that was a fun idea that I wish was explored more.
Yeah, no, definitely sounds cool. I'll definitely check that out. If I can still find it somewhere, I'll definitely check it out.
Yeah, it was okay. I don't know if you ever watched Community.
Yeah.
The guy Abed was in it. So there was good people in it. Alan Tudyk was in it as like there was good people. It just, for whatever reason, whoever was writing for it didn't seem like they were actually fans of the comics. So like there wasn't enough like depth, and it didn't feel right.
Got you. Definitely understand. For you guys, if you weren't wrestling, what do you guys think you would be doing? What would be your other passion?
Man, I feel like if I had never gotten into wrestling, I probably would have picked up some sort of instrument at some point.
Wow.
Like there is just something about being in front of a crowd that and being a performer that I really enjoy. And I don't think I'm funny, but like not right down stand-up comedy funny. So I listen to music all the time, and I'm like, oh man, I love this bass line, or these drums are awesome. And like, I feel like I would have picked up probably bass. I feel like I would have picked up bass at some point.
Nice. What about you, Riley? What do you think you would be doing?
I originally never didn't set out to be a pro wrestler, so I already had something in mind. I wanted to be a script writer. When I went to college, I specifically took media journalism because I wanted to write movie scripts, comic book scripts. Comic book scripts was a big one because obviously big fan of comics.
Yeah.
I even applied for a job at CBS at one point, and I almost got on. If it wasn't 2008 and the economy didn't crash, I would have been a part of CBS. That would have been awesome. But after that, things started turning more towards the wrestling. But I still love the idea of just writing scripts, plotting things out like that. I would love to be part of like a room of creative types on an NBC show or something like that kind of thing. Really intrigues me. I love coming up with wild ideas, clearly. I just do it in wrestling. I love telling stories, which I can do here in wrestling. So outside of typing up a script, I'm kind of doing the same thing. I'm still presenting stories to the masses, and that fulfills that thing in you that wants that's there. So
Yeah, definitely
I also
understand.
feel like I definitely would still be doing something with wrestling also. Like for the long, I was a photographer for a while. I did photos for Jersey All Pro back in the day and stuff. I'd be doing some sort of like filming, like helping with a promotion in some way, I'm sure, even if I wasn't wrestling. But like, there's so many things I want to do just in general. Like I was talking the other day, I was looking up where I could go learn to ice skate because I want to pick up like rec hockey. I've always been a hockey fan, but I can't, I can skate, but I can't stop. So like, as a way of like using it I'm getting into better shape to keep it going. I was like, let's learn to skate finally. So hopefully in like the fall, I'll take some lessons on that and pick up some rec hockey. And there's so many things. It's just constant.
Yeah. Awesome. You said doing script writing. If you guys could rewrite any one of your favorite moments in wrestling, which moment would that be? What special moment would you rewrite and change it? I know it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like, because you have to think about how it would affect. Like, I'd love to say not having the Montreal screw job, because then Brett would have stayed and Owen would probably still be alive. But at the same time, that also means that you maybe never get the Attitude Era.
True.
So like, it's hard to balance stuff. I don't know, Rad, do you have anything?
Yeah, I got two. I'm trying to figure out which one. I'll probably say my runner-up is having Austin turn heel at WrestleMania 17. I would have just waited the next day. But
I have one. I wonder if you're going to say it.
All right, I absolutely would have had Nick Patrick just count the 3 slowly, or sorry, not count slowly and count quickly. So when Sting gets pinned by Hogan at Starrcade, or just not have Sting get pinned at Starrcade. That's a crazy idea, right? So maybe Sting can come back after 18 months and just beat Hogan in like 10 minutes. That's probably what I would do. There's so many things that get fixed from that. Like Sting looks like $1 million. WCW finally wins. They could have had Hogan move on to something else. Like it would have fixed so much for WCW.
I think another idea on how to fix WCW would have been, just instead of constantly having the NWO versus, just have NWO win and have the company become the NWO.
Yeah.
And then on the other side in WWE, I don't think anything for me personally would top having the Nexus win. I think that would have elevated so many guys. It would have felt like a real changing of the guard in a time where it was needed so bad. I think it would, and it would have not had people turn on Cena. Like they would have Cena would have been in the chase again. It would have felt like almost a second NWO, but maybe run by people who knew how to end it.
Yeah.
So that'd probably be mine.
That makes sense. See, so for me, I have 2 moments that have happened in wrestling. I'm a huge NWO fan. I'm one of those, when they say NWO for life, like that's me. Like I have signed Hogan, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, the original 3 NWO T-shirt hanging on my wall right now. For me, it would be when Kevin Nash first appeared on WCW Nitro. Something that annoys me so much, I don't know if anybody ever notices it, but he said, "Oh, I'm here in WCW," and he said, "This is where the big boys play."
Check the
Look
adjective.
at the adjective. Play.
Check the adjective, boy.
I was just like, it's not an adjective. I was like, wait, what? I was so confused when he said that.
I quote that all the time. Even my girlfriend, who has never watched wrestling and doesn't care, I will bring that up in conversation and just drop it in. And
It's so hilarious. I'm just like, oh man, I'm like, what are you doing? So I would change that. That's a minor thing. And also when the NWO was formed, when Hulk Hogan is coming to the ring and Bobby the Brain Heenan says, but whose side is he on? I felt like him saying that kind of took away from you knowing like, okay, so maybe something's gonna happen and he's gonna join the NWO. I would have rather him not say that during that part, him coming out.
I still feel like that is what Bobby Heenan would say, though. That's the thing. It does like hurt.
He hated Hulk Hogan.
I think it hurts the moment in retrospect, but anybody who saw it live, that's what they would assume Bobby Heenan would say. And I feel like you can't, unless you saw it live, you probably will never get that feeling because you already know what's going to happen.
True, definitely. Oh man, well, there's a lot of things that could be rewritten, but you know, what can you do? We'll have to fantasize about it. Here goes another one for you guys. If you guys could pick any stepdad for yourselves, anybody in general, who would you pick?
Well, like to be my stepdad?
To be your stepdad, yeah, yep.
And does it have to be a famous stepdad or a famous dad? It could just be anybody?
It could be anybody, famous, not famous. It could be the gas station clerk, whoever you want it to be.
And there's so many options.
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. See, for me, the I would go with who Radley talked about earlier. He talked about Married with Children. I'd pick Al Bundy all day. That would be my stepdad.
I would probably go with, and I just feel like it would have created such an incredible experience growing up to have this person as your dad. Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, that is good. Wow.
I feel like he's like the quintessential dad energy, like of just like the jokes and like I feel like that would just be such a fun. And then you grow up and your dad is the genie from like to be a 90s kid. You know what I mean? It just
yeah. What about you, Radley? Do you have anybody you can think of? I know this is tough.
Brad's gonna
say really tough. This is really tough. I didn't know fictional characters were allowed in this either. That just
it just expanded it even more, right?
Oh my gosh.
Brad, I feel like for you it's got to be like Stan Lee.
That would be dope.
That's not a bad answer. Let's go with that. Stan Lee. I can just imagine every morning I wake up, go downstairs, I hear like the eggs crackling, and he turns around, Excelsior! Yeah. And I'm like, oh, it's gonna be a good day.
I'm just trying to think like people who'd be like good like comic, like Kevin Conroy. You grew up in your dad's Batman, like that's cool. Or even Mark Hamill.
Oh man. Yeah, I know that was a tough one. All right. How about this? I'm hoping this one will be easier. If you could pick anyone to be a stepson or stepdaughter, who would you pick to be your stepson or your stepdaughter?
I'm gonna try. I'm trying to keep it like age appropriate, like someone right now would be like a good choice.
Yeah, I got you.
They got to be like younger.
You pick somebody. So for like me, let's say with this one, I would say I would pick if you remember the show, The Smart Guy. So I would pick Smart Guy to be my stepson. Not at that age when he was that age when they were filming the show. Tia Tamara as well. Yep. That they could be stepchildren as well. I can see that.
Trying to think of some like not annoying child actors. There's so many that are just awful.
Don't worry.
Question. I really appreciate the thought. And it's like I don't want to give an answer that I don't believe in.
I feel you. It's all good. Riley, what about you? Still thinking too, Riley?
Who is that kid that won the tag team title at WrestleMania?
I think his name was Nicholas, right?
Yes.
I'll take Nicholas. We have a good little tag team going. He's already got experience. We're on our way. Back to WrestleMania.
Just because I saw it and it made me think, I would pick the character Hero from Big Hero 6.
Okay.
An inventor. He created Baymax. I mean, that's a good. He's got potential. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I can see that. All right. See, that was the hard stuff right there. All right. So I'm
Who
gonna
would have
go
thought
to
that? Those would be the hard hitting questions.
Hardest questions of my life.
So I'm gonna ask you guys this. I'm gonna wrap it up with this question. For you guys, like we said, we had this break with quarantine. Indie wrestling has kind of like changed the destination for some people and where they're going. For you guys, what is the goal for the stepdads? Is it still to be a part of a big company? I feel a lot of nowadays with independent wrestling, sometimes that's not always the goal for people, and you can still be successful just being on the indies as well. But personally, for you two, what are you guys looking to accomplish as a team, and where are you guys trying to head?
I mean, ultimately, the short-term goal is to get back to a regular routine. I feel like it's been very sporadic for us. It's been hard to gain any momentum since coming back. So like the big thing for us would be like getting one of those like bookings or one of those opportunities where it's like live streamed on IWTV or something, that just get in front of more eyes first. And also just get back in that groove and really find our rhythm. Short term. Long term, I feel like getting a shot on like AEW Dark or Elevation would be the thing. Like that, like it seems like the place to be for tag teams. So I feel like would be the big goal if ever there was one. But in the meantime, it's like just getting that next step up, like jumping from like AA to AAA, or like making that middle jump first. And we're not like out here. I'm not trying to be like, oh, I think we should be booked on AEW. It's like it's about taking the steps to get there.
Yeah, totally agree.
Absolutely. Like I'll throw company names out. I really want to get into Limitless Wrestling. I really want to get into Beyond Wrestling. I really want to get into all these companies that IWTV prioritizes right now. That's not going to happen overnight. We know that, but we're inching little by little. We're at some good companies right now. Test of Strength Wrestling we started with last year. We're doing great stuff with them. We're working with Wrestling Association Gumi that's debuting next month. They have a lot of great people on their first card, so there's a lot of opportunity for us to be seen, and hopefully it gets to that level to where we're wrestling MSP again, but in front of a bigger audience. We're wrestling Waves and Curls. We're wrestling the main event. Great tag teams that are already getting on Dark. That's where we want to be. So we want to wrestle the people who are getting there, you know what I mean? And then when we can do that and we can prove ourselves, the goal is definitely to get to AEW. That we've talked so much about how they're prioritizing wrestling in a way that nobody else is, and we want to be a tag team. We want to be remembered as a tag team, so we don't want to get split up and thrown into some performance center system or anything. That I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Definitely not for us. And if that means it's not a one-way street, we gotta hit up an MLW or we gotta tour outside the country, I'm all for it. But the goal is definitely to get to a platform that appreciates tag team wrestling, and right now that's AEW.
Yeah, this isn't us saying like, oh, we think we should be AEW tomorrow. We're working on it. Like we're taking the steps. That part of that was the weight loss, and then it'll be building back up with like a good physique, and like, but it's all steps that like that would be the ultimate end goal if there was one. And I don't say that as like, oh, I won't feel I succeeded if I don't get to AEW. That was never a goal to begin with. It just has become one as we've evolved. And I think I see it and it just seems like it makes sense as an end goal. But like if I don't get there, I won't be like, well, this was all for nothing. I'll think like when we started, we thought we were never going to be anything. So we've already exceeded that. It's just about when you hit a new goal, you make a new one. You just keep making goals. When you hit a weight loss goal, you don't feel like, well, I'm done losing weight. Like you keep going. So there's all these little goals along the way. Like the fact that we've gotten to be on shows with guys that I grew up watching as a fan is cool. Like a guy like like you mentioned, Test of Strength Wrestling is run by Slick Wagner Brown. Slick Wagner Brown was a guy who I grew up watching in the Northeast scene as an indie guy. Like the fact that that's someone who now is like sees something in us to want to book us was like a huge stepping stone goal. And that it just added to the desire to go further.
Definitely. You know, you guys, like I said, I think you guys as a tag team, you guys are amazing. I know you guys put a lot of thought and a lot of hard work into who you guys are and, you know, creating the stepdads. I just think it's a matter of the right people just seeing you guys and seeing what you bring to the table. And I think, you know, once we get a lot of eyes on you guys, I can see, you know, the future being bright for the both of you. And I definitely, you know, we wish you nothing but the best here at Wrestling IQ 101 for sure.
Appreciate that big time.
Yes,
definitely.
Thank you so much. Thank you so
Definitely.
much.
But, you know, thank you. I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. I really appreciate you guys taking the time out. It's definitely been a while. I know we could talk forever. I know you guys have a lot of great things to talk about as well. If fans want to stay connected with both of you guys and the Stepdads Wrestling, how would they do that on social media?
Any social media, just Stepdads Wrestle, all one word. Do not put a space. You will get weird results that involve weird things that we don't, I'm not going to say we don't condone it, just that it's a separate lifestyle than what we practice. It's not a wrestling thing. I mean,
You don't want to tell your mom about it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Definitely. I can definitely see that. So be careful the way you guys are spelling stepdads out here, but definitely.
Yeah. So yeah, all one word, Stepdads Wrestle, Twitter, Instagram. It's either Stepdads Wrestle or Stepdads Wrestling. And right, Red, am I messing that up?
Oh yeah, yep. Just go into the search engine, put in @Stepdads Wrestling. You're good to go. You can find us on YouTube that way. You can find us Twitter, Instagram, Patreon, where we post matches, exclusive stuff all the time.
Yeah, like
we even got TikTok. We even got TikTok. So
nice.
We're trying to stay hip with the kids, you know.
Yep. And I have more like if anyone ever just wants to talk about, I don't know, you need weight loss motivation, hit me up. You want to talk about autographs, you want to talk about hockey, baseball, whatever. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok as Wade Kruger1. Kruger the same as Freddie. I'm on all those, so feel free to say hello. I'm around.
Now wait, that's with 2 G's?
Not with 2 G's, not with 1 E, not I one day we'll have a full thing spelled out correctly with Stepdads as one word and Kruger with a correct spelling, but
I was gonna say, who doesn't know how to spell Kruger, man?
a lot of people spell it Kruger without the UE. I don't know.
My goodness.
Luckily, everything we post daily. I'm posting pictures every day. It has our exact names in the description of every picture. And
unless Rad spells it wrong, which has also happened.
That definitely happens. And I went back and I fixed it, but yes, absolutely happens.
My own tag partner.
All good.
I know what Caesar felt like when he was like, "Et tu, Brute."
Hey man, it happens. It happens. But fans, definitely make sure you guys check out the Stepdads. Make sure you follow them. See all their great promos, great T-shirts, great matches, just everything that they're doing. Make sure you follow those guys and check them out. Subscribe, give them your support for sure, and definitely make sure you subscribe here. Give us your support at Wrestling IQ 101. You can check us out everywhere, like we said in the beginning: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube. Anywhere you get all your streaming needs, make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check us out. Check out this great episode and all the future great episodes we have coming on the way. And for this episode, it's Derrick, it's the Stepdads, and we are out.